Take after take, we back. Don't do that. Don't do that, dog.
You can't do it, can you?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
209, 3 weeks in a row. We can't do it. That's all right.
Don't do that.
It's all right.
I've been consistent in the 209. Before we get into my issues, bro, you look good. Last time I saw you, we was out, in the highways and byways of Greater Atlanta. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves for hosting us for our Atlanta Braves Rocket City Trash Pandas opening day for baseball, Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball. But bro, you got your line up.
I usually get my hair cut once a year, so this was the time to get it cut.
Once a year.
Once a year. You just let it flow after that.
I don't believe
How many times you get your hair cut?
Twice a week.
Twice a week?
Look, let me tell y'all something. Many moons ago, boy, this thing used to be, the waves were waving. They ain't happening no more.
Ain't doing that no more, huh?
Things over with. My baby, the 7-year-old, he got all the luscious locks and stuff, the curls and all that stuff. I ain't got all that. I gave it all to him. Like Samson, man, you just give it all to, lose all your strength.
Gave it all away?
Down bad, dog. I'm aching, I'm hurting, I'm walking, dehydrated, all
Did
that.
you eat today? You talked about it last week.
I ate a little bit of protein.
Okay.
On the way here. As I got halfway here.
I mean, you had plenty of time to.
I did not.
So.
Because I got halfway here, and then I realized I didn't have my personal cell phone. So I came all the way back home to come get the phone. Now, the previous 2 weeks, 209, it's just 209. This week, I had a legitimate, it wasn't even legitimate. This about you. This ain't about me. Can we talk? Why are you only getting one haircut a year?
That's all I need.
Sir,
what more do you need? I wear a hat every day.
I do too, man.
You have a hat because you don't have hair, though.
Don't do that, dog. I do have hair. Now, it'll grow. Y'all just don't
show
see
the people your hair. Look at that camera. Let them see the hair. Where's it at?
It's gone. Little pieces of gray right here.
It's up there somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere back. I'm on. It's 4th and goal on my own too. It'll be it right now. But we're gonna figure that out. But you see me in here with a chia pet on my head.
You're gonna have to do what what's some celebrities doing? They're going down to Turkey to get their hair transplanted.
I'm gonna go Turkey.
That's what you're doing.
That's exactly what I'm about to do. Besides being 9 minutes after the hour, and you with this wonderful phase / taper / you look good. You look young. Let me see that. Look at that. Like you need if you put a part in the boy, you be on point.
Yeah, I don't
want
to.
Point. Though. Why not?
Yeah, because I just want to do this. It's easier this way.
Oh my god!
Just put a hat on.
Go about
your day.
We've been with each other. What is this?
Too much
the last couple of days because we were in Atlanta. Big shout out to our Tennessee Valley Living show. We had an unbelievable time. Peyton Walker alongside yours truly, Patrick, and everyone helped with that amazing special. Just bringing in the baseball season. But we had some Final Four action to get to, and men's and women. And on the men's side, we had 4 number ones, first time since 2008. Man, you couldn't have asked for anything better. High drama.
Yep.
Competitive basketball all the way through the national championship. And on Monday night, the Florida Gators cut down the nets and brought home their 3rd national title in program history. Just your initial thoughts, not from the national title game, but from the Final Four, and what you thought about those 2 respective games.
So we had 2 Texas-size collapses,
man,
in the last really 5 minutes of the game, I guess. I thought it was incredibly entertaining, both games. A couple podcasts ago, I mentioned to you I would wait to hold off my judgment to see how much cultural impact this thing's going to have without any kind of Cinderella stories. Final Four numbers, 18.1 million. That's up 22 from last year. So nobody cares about Cinderella.
Could care less.
We want the blue blood programs, the Dukes, now I guess Florida. I mean, where would Florida rank for you in terms of now college basketball programs? Because here we go.
Man,
now
you about to have me disrespect the Gators, and I ain't trying to do that today. I didn't say I'm not. I ain't.
Well, there aren't many football, basketball schools in America.
That's fair. Are we solidifying? Are we bringing this just to basketball, or are we doing the football and basketball? I was just talking about like college basketball because there's this notion circling around. If you want to have the conversation, which is fine, that they have 3 national championships in the last.
Are we about to get another preacher Prather
pulpit
sermon?
Because I got mad respect for like what Florida is, right? And their program and Coach Golden, Walter Clayton Jr. was fantastic. That team, it was just a fun team to watch. But I mean, I always ask this: who are you taking the Florida basketball program over? Right? You're not taking them over Kentucky.
No.
You're not taking them over UConn. You're not taking them over Duke.
No.
Not taking them over Carolina.
Well, I mean, right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I get it. They won the national championship, and by all means, I mean, credit goes to them. But I'm just saying, there's a handful of programs that you're probably going to take first. If you just said all things equal, and they just freshly won a national championship, you're going to say, man, that's great. But you're probably still not going to take them when you name those first 5. When you start getting out that 5, then things can kind of get interesting there. Because I think there was a stat I saw, someone had it on social media. I think 17 of the last 21 national championships have been won by like 8 teams.
Yeah.
You know what
Florida's
I'm saying?
one of them.
Florida is one of them. So if you want to put them in that top 10 or something, yeah, that's cool. Like I'm not.
You don't think it maybe potentially changes though with NIL and just the amount of money that's out there? I mean, I don't know what these schools are bringing in, but I would imagine a school like Florida University would probably do more money than a place like UConn.
I don't know, dog. I mean,
we don't know. We don't know what we're talking about.
I mean, because you got to think about it. UConn has 6 natties since '99.
That's true.
That's a lot. I mean, and here's the thing.
On the men and women's side.
Yeah.
And it all goes to basketball because there's no football.
No, and it goes back to our conversation last week during our podcast. We discussed the transfer portal and how important it is and how cool it'll be for college basketball. People may not like it, but to kind of balance things out in college basketball, you may see more of that. Now, your big money spenders are going to continue to spend money, but I'm just under the impression of the only reason why we won't have Cinderella, you won't have Cinderella by quote unquote team, but but what I mean by this is there'll be a team name. So, for example, you could really look at Walter Clayton Jr. and say that like is a true epitome of a Cinderella story.
For this year.
Right?
Yeah, for this year.
Played at Iona with Rick Pitino. 0-star recruit. Goes from there, goes to Florida. You know, that's an amazing story. It ends up the most outstanding player of the tournament and more of the Final Four, and now about to be a lottery pick in June. I just am under the impression, much like you mentioned with UConn, when maybe the majority of your resources may potentially go over to men's and women's basketball. When you look at teams like Marquette and teams like Gonzaga and Wichita, I always throw out Wichita State just because programs that A, don't have football, B, their basketball program has traditionally been the calling card for their university. I just think there are going to be more opportunities for those in the NIL scope and sphere to be able to want to push resources toward those to kind of have some sort of increased viability within the program, the university, and college basketball. That's why I think it's easier for college basketball for a program to kind of reach a Final Four or go to a national championship solely because you have more opportunities with less players. You don't have to do with as many. You give me seven men or women basketball players, I got a chance to cut the nets down. Whereas I don't know if 7 can do that for you in college football relative to just the numbers game, the 22, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that's why it means more. The quality means more because you got to have an abundance of it. But for me, college basketball, you can have it. No one, you know, the funny part about it, we mentioned the Cinderellas, and I was listening to satellite radio yesterday, and it was very funny. No one discussed that a couple of years ago, we had Florida Atlantic and San Diego State in the national championship. In your wildest dreams, no one in their right mind said, hey, will San Diego State or will Florida Atlantic be in the national championship? This is if you mentioned that in 2000 and said in the next 25 years. No one. But why? Old players that are experienced, and an amazing run. No one thought VCU, Virginia Commonwealth with Shaka Smart, was going to reach the Final Four. You know, those are the things that I'm saying. I'm just saying that you're still going to have more of those stories, but it's just going to be the program, the 8 to 10 players that are on said roster for the men's and women's, especially the men. They're just going to be players from all across the country. They're not going to be homegrown products. But as far as the quote unquote the name across the front of your jersey, you're going to love it. The casual sports fans are going to love it because they're going to be like, man, that's awesome. Creighton is in the national championship game. They won the national championship. Well, they also have the Horizon League Player of the Year. They have the American League Player of the Year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Sixth Man of the Year in the Big Ten. So that's the only shift to me that I see relative to the NIL scope.
And it could all trickle to the top. Seems to be that way. Like women's college basketball has done really well these past 5 years. It's been dominated by the same couple of programs. Even the championship this year, it was up previous from the past 5 years. The only thing that had beat it was the Caitlin Clark Yeah, which was just like a
ridiculous.
supernova, right?
Right.
But like the game Sunday between UConn and South Carolina did huge numbers on TV. Those are two historically huge women's college basketball programs.
But you have to remember, though, it goes back to what we just mentioned. In the grand scope of South Carolina basketball on the women's side, pre-Don Staley.
Right.
No, and this is no disrespect to the program, but no history relative to what they are in the last 6 years. UConn women's basketball hadn't won a national championship in 9 years. And that's why I just believe the viability in NIL is the more that we get into this world, you're just going to have more players that are going to be able to go to different programs to put yourself in just the second weekend. I always say this. I'm a firm believer in this. You got to have players. I get it. Coaching matters more than anything in college basketball, especially in a tournament setting. With all of that said, if you can just get to the second weekend, Pat, you got a chance. That means that a lot of things can happen. Texas Christian University with Haley Van Lith has never been to an Elite Eight. Or if they have, there was just their second. But it's just a mere fact that they beat to me, I can consider kind of one of the top 20 programs in college basketball in Louisville, her former team, to get to that point, says a lot. So I just think that you're going to see more of teams and programs that young ladies and young men that may not be able to start or have opportunities after a year or so transfer to some programs and completely change life for them. So that's why I just think that, the Cinderella moniker will change, but it's only changing in what you have considered a Cinderella for a team, because the program is there and that's the Cinderella. It's just the moving parts within the program, because a lot of these players are from all over the country and all walks of life that are going to be able to potentially make Final Four runs and win some national championships. I am very intrigued because we got a sample size of 3 years, 4 seasons. I'm very intrigued to see in the next decade, Lord willing, that we get to see what a really large sample size and see what that is. I think it is going to be a little bit more of the same from the standpoint of Sweet 16 teams, your programs, because they have more resources. But, man, I still think you're going to have a lot of teams that are going to make some runs. And you'll be like, man, where'd they come from? And then you're going to look at their roster and you'll be like, oh, they got 6 24-year-olds on their team.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So I guess transitioning to a team around here that a lot of people really love.
Yeah.
Auburn Tigers.
Yeah.
They come up short against the eventual national champions in the Florida Gators. They were up 46-38 at the half.
They were.
Only scored 27 second half. What went wrong for Bruce Pearl, Janai Broome, and the crew?
This is hyperbole. This is what many may call coach speak. Us in the media may say this consistently, but I just truly believe it with this team. Man, if there was ever a program and ever a basketball team for this season, and maybe it's because you're just watching them closely because we cover them. If there was a program that I truly, utterly believe, and I'm not knocking Houston, Duke, or Florida, because they all busted their you-know-whats to get to this point. Auburn had nothing less to give. Nothing more. That was it. They did everything and used up every amount of effort, talent, the want to, from the coaching staff to the admins to the SIDs to the players to the cheerleaders. Everything was left out on that floor. I just don't think they had anything else to give. And we discussed it during the regular season. They're such frenetic pace and torrid pace to the non-conference and how hot they started, how healthy they were, much like everyone else is healthy in the first half of the year. Through historically the greatest conference season in the history of men's college basketball ever, to be the number 1 overall seed, 1 loss in a historically great league heading into the final week of the regular season. You end up losing in the conference championship, and then to still be able to reach the Final Four and lose to the eventual national champion, who was the first team to beat you in conference at home. I just think they left everything on the floor. Janai Broome looks like he legitimately barely could run the floor. That's what it was like in the second half. I think he set the tone. He was excellent in the first half. I just think he ran out of gas. What I mean run out of gas is I don't have anything else to give mentally. I don't have anything else to give physically. And I am basically walking on one leg and one arm, and I'm just trying to get us to the finish line. And I had Auburn in the Final Four. I thought they would lose to Florida in the Final Four, but I also thought that they had an opportunity and could win the national championship. But I just don't think they had anything else to give, Pat. And a big credit to Florida. I think the best team on the floor won the game. I think the best team throughout the regular season were the Auburn Tigers. I just think it was kind of twofold from what you mentioned when we got into the end of the year, like what's wrong with Auburn? And I was like, they're fine, they're tired. Yeah, they're tired, they're worn out, and they did everything they possibly could to try to manage a roster that is beat up, beat down. Your star player is nowhere near 100%. And I just personally think you get to a point on top of maybe some of your players that have been playing, especially with Ty Pettiford is a star, did not play particularly well in that game. I just think when you add all of those things up in the kind of proverbial Soup Bowl there, I just think ultimately this was the end for what has been, to me, Auburn fans and alumni and fans of the Southeastern Conference can let us know it's the greatest season in the history of Auburn basketball, bar none, with the run that they've had. It was a fun ride, but I just think Florida was better. You could tell as you got to the 7-minute mark of that game, under 7 timeout, it was almost like something dramatic is going to have to happen for Auburn to be able to not only regain the lead, take the lead, and hold on to it. It just seemed like every time Auburn was close to kind of knocking on that door again, Florida just had an answer. And I just don't think they had an opportunity to kind of break the proverbial door through and go to the national championship game.
And unfortunately for Auburn, they did not have the best player on the floor.
They did not.
That was Walter Clayton Jr. for Florida. And sometimes it comes down to big shot making. He had 34 points. Huge shots. I don't know, like we talked about last week with Walter Clayton Jr.,
Yep.
I don't know if there are 5 players that should be picked in front of him in this year's draft coming up.
I don't know about that, big dog. I don't know about that.
Like, just watch the film.
Walter's off the chain. I'm not. We're projecting to the NBA, and I think he can be fantastic. I'm not do that because I feel like I don't want to knock my man because he hooped. He balled out. But like 5 before him,
he's gonna go 10 spots too late, and he's gonna average 20 at some point in his career in the second or third year, and people are gonna be like, "Yeah, this makes total sense." Did anybody watch the tournament he was in, where he had 3 30-point games in a row?
Would you be surprised? Would you be shocked if if he's picked 6 or 7 through 14, which is that lottery spot? If he's picked somewhere, I think he's going to be a lottery pick.
I think he should be closer to 6 than 14,
okay,
for sure.
That's fair.
And if he falls out of 14, it's going to be like, what are you doing?
Now, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just think your first 7 guys, in no order, I think everyone, can acknowledge probably Cooper Flagg is going to go 1.
He should be the first pick.
Right?
Yes.
But then Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, you're 3. You bring in Con Knipple, you bring in Kamen Malawach, Johnson in Texas, just bucket getters, much like Walter is. If you can get me out of that 5 or 6, then you got me. I'm cool. I just think that those first 4 or 5, they're solidified for sure. But he was magnificent. Your thoughts on because I may have a rooting interest for the Duke Blue Devils, maybe sources say. Your thoughts on the Final Four? That was I don't think if that game was replicated 400 times, I don't think it would end the way that it ended.
No.
Right?
That was one of the huge collapses of the week. Epic collapse.
Yeah. And listen, things happen in sports. Once again, another hyperbole statement. How many times the coaches and fans and everybody finish the game, right?
Yep.
Finish the game. You have a couple of bad inbounds plays.
Which is, at this level, for that kind of program, is a crazy thing to have happen.
It's tough, man. You talk basketball and talk shop with a lot of fans and people and of course, you get a lot of laughter and all that with Duke. First of all, this was a phenomenal year by the Duke Blue Devils. lottery talent across the board. Of course, you're going to look back and say, like, what if? For some odd reason, this notion that John Shire is a terrible coach is beyond me in year 3. An Elite Eight, a Final Four. Like, what? Ultimately, what you had on the floor was a 5th-year grad transfer inbounding the basketball, Sion James, who's been excellent. You have a junior that has been in that program for 3 years, played a lot of high-quality basketball, and Tyrese Proctor. If you just get the ball in one time, if you just hit maybe the front of a 1-and-1, we are probably having Florida and Duke in the national championship. We don't know who would have won that game. We're just saying all things equal that it does not matter what basketball team it is. It is whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's youth basketball. It just, the odds are not in your favor to lose a basketball game if you're up 6 points with 33 seconds left. You know what I mean? So 16, 13, whatever it was in the under 7-minute mark. So that's the only thing. And I know, I get it. Because, I mean, no one Nick Saban said this, and you never really think about it. It doesn't resonate until you really should truly think about it. Dude, no one cares worse about a loss than the actual players on the floor. Like, what? So in what world do you not think Duke basketball players and Houston basketball players and Auburn basketball players and anyone else that did not cut the nets down are not truly hurt? So it stinks. I hate that the game ended that way. But credit to Houston for being able to take advantage of those situations because they had to hit some big baskets down the straight stretch. And I want to say something, too, about Kevin Sampson, man. You know, culture is a real hard thing to build in a program. You can have great players. You can have talent across the board. The talent can overpower said opponent. But culture, mindset, and the consistent daily regimen of having a mindset of being tougher and not quitting. Forget the talent, just not quitting. That's what I think was truly unbelievable to watch from Houston. They just didn't quit, man. They just didn't quit. They just kept playing basketball. They could have lost by 30 in that game, and the effort still would have been there. And that's why I got to give a lot of credit to Coach Sampson, man. That was an unbelievable run. Once again, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat on Monday night, having an opportunity to try to go for the win. There wasn't no time. They were trying to go for it. And Sharp, couldn't pick the ball back up off of, it could have been a travel, double dribble, whatnot, travel. But, man, that's why the NCAA tournament, men's or women's, or a one-game tournament format is so tantalizing and just exciting for a fan. Because, A, the best team doesn't always win, and anything can happen if you just keep playing. And that's what makes this tournament. This tournament should be the true epitome of what makes it great. The field of 68. The same thing for the women. Just keep playing. Keep playing, man, and you just never know. We just were fortunate that we had the best two teams that won it in the men's and women's side this year. We can honestly just say that. They were just the best teams. And it was just amazing to watch.
Yeah, UConn ran South Carolina off the floor in that women's game.
On the women's side, I was concerned because of, UConn, South Carolina Part 1 in Columbia, South Carolina, just the domination of that. I was like, I just don't know if this game's going to be competitive again. UConn would have had to miss some shots, shoot it pretty poorly from the field. But shout out to Paige Beckers. She got her a chip. Natty brought one back to Storrs, Connecticut for the first time in 9 years. The men's and women's tournaments were just awesome. A+++++ this year. I truly enjoyed them. There was nothing bad I can say about either one of them. Oh, hold on, one more thing before we go to break. I never discuss officials in the game because I understand how difficult it can be in real time, even though you're trained to be able to properly call a game.
Yep, come to the dark side. Come over here.
I ain't coming over there.
Come over
I'm
here.
not coming over there.
Come over here with the refs.
4 total team fouls in the first half of the national championship game on Monday.
Awful.
23 in the second half.
Awful. The reviews in college basketball kill everything.
I'm not going to go that far.
Terrible.
I want them to get it right. I'd rather for them to get, because I always say to myself, can you imagine Joe Schmo and Cindy Schmo in 1970-something that blatantly a ball was out of bounds and they could not check that, or the 60s? I want you to get it right from that standpoint. But a lot of those were on the floor. 4 total fouls in the first half. 23 in the second. The first 3 minutes of that game, it was like quadruple whistles in a matter of like a minute and a half. I was like, what we doing?
It's almost like they looked at the stats at halftime and was like, okay,
4
it's time for us to be the stars of the show here.
4 total fouls, y'all.
It's insane.
23 total in the second half alone. Oof.
Did that feel good? You need to criticize officials more.
It was fine. It was just, but no, you just want just dump all over the officials, man. Officials trying to call the game and try to do the right thing, man, in real time. Come on, man. It's just a little too much.
You'll come to this side eventually
No,
for it's
I'm
over
not
with. All right, we're about to head to break. What are we talking about after the break? College football, NFL?
We're gonna talk NFL because we getting close. Where is this? The 9th?
Yeah, the savior of the Titans franchise is almost here.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna talk about that. I want to talk about the NFL draft. And I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans because this dude over here, if you see it with a full Tennessee Titans logo face tattoo the day after the draft, don't be surprised. That's just what he is.
Coming up in 60 seconds.
Take after take back, another week of sports talk here. Producer Pat on the ones and twos. I'm merely Carl Prather. We discussed the NCAA basketball tournament, men's and women's, in the first segment. But man, look, this man over here.
What? Something about to happen?
Nah, bro, you insufferable. You are about to be insufferable because every NFL fan heading into the end of April has hope. Just to have one of these young men to be able to potentially propel you to Super Bowl championships, playoff bids, just the future, just the hope. If there is anybody on God's green earth that is more hyped about the first pick and who you all are going to be selecting in the first round, I don't know who it is, but it sure the heck is you. Tennessee. For those new to our podcast that listen on every Thursday or watching our live stream, this is the biggest Tennessee Titans fan I know, bar none. And this cat is hyped because he realizes that they are more than likely taking a quarterback. They've shut everything down for the most part. You inform us, let us know as a Titans fan. All roads appear to be leading toward one Cam Ward at quarterback being the number one overall pick.
Almost the entire Titans front office was at his pro day.
Oh, my gosh.
Including, I believe, he met with the owner also as well, which is kind of unheard of for these things. They canceled the workout with Shedeur Sanders.
They did.
Cam Ward will be the number one pick here in a couple weeks for the Tennessee Titans. And I have fully talked myself into this guy. It did not take long, but I'm in. I'm all in. We're winning 10 games this year.
What if it was Shedeur Sanders?
I would talk myself into that too.
What if it's Will Campbell?
No. We need a quarterback. I can't have Will Levis play quarterback for the Tennessee.
Hold on. I
can't do it. Nah, we're not going to go.
We're going to do this one more time. This is it. I'm going to lay in bed after this one time. We're going to take it to the altar. We're going to pray about it. Did I not, when Will Levis was drafted, did I or did I not tell you that this man was not a starting quarterback in the National Football League for the Titans?
Well, you know what? It takes time sometimes. Okay?
You can see
how many people out there have been with terrible boyfriends and terrible girlfriends and stuck around too long? I'm not going to apologize for living with my heart. I can't do it. All right? This is what I am. I'm an emotional guy.
You're emotional.
I like Will Levis. Didn't do it for me. I stuck on the train long enough. He ran it right off the tracks.
Hold on.
We all crashed.
Hold on. We do a little relationship talk. You'd have been with a girlfriend a little too long before?
No.
I was about to say, don't ask me that. Yeah, we ain't going to that. Well,
But I'm just saying, people, viewers, listeners out there, they know. They know. They got an uncle.
Just trying to hold on.
They got an uncle out there that's miserable, or an aunt that's
just
miserable.
trying to hold on.
Trying to hold on. And sometimes you got to let it go. Somebody else new comes in your life.
Come on, Dr. Pat. Love Doctor.
Happens to be number 1 from the Miami Hurricanes, Cam Ward, and he will be the number 1 pick. I hope he gets a number 1. He stays with the number 1 jersey because I'm going to try to order it like today and put Ward on the back, customize it. You know what I mean?
I am convinced as soon with 5 minutes left on that clock with Roger Goodell at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The date was April 27th.
Yeah.
When they say the Tennessee Titans select, that man is on NFL Shop. He will probably have that overnighted.
I'm going to have it, yeah. Might have it pulled up in a tab and then wait and then just hit enter.
I have gone. Okay, it appears that Cam Ward is going to be the franchise quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Things that you like, things that you are just super, super intrigued with relative to, obviously, you're the number 1 pick, and there's a lot of rebuilding to do. But you have to be excited from just what the tape tells you in Miami and the difference maker he potentially could be in the National Football League.
Number 1, dude's a winner. He has won everywhere he's been.
Facts.
He started at Incarnate Word.
Correct.
So not a huge
Incarnate
recruit. Worked his way up to Miami to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. Yep. Electric arm. Creative with the football. You can give some knocks on him. Holds onto the football too long, but that seems to be a common thing with a lot of these young quarterbacks. But I think dude's just a gamer. His teammates love him. He's going to step into a Titans franchise that is kind of void of leadership. He can kind of come in, him and Jeffrey Simmons, a couple other veterans on the team, and be that sort of that leader right away. We talked about in the break, he's going to be on the first ticket of the first game, the preseason game.
He's going to be on that ticket.
I think this dude is going to be a huge star. I really do think he's going to be fantastic. I've talked myself into it. There are enough people that I respect in the NFL draft game, like Todd McShay and some others, who have gotten on board with this guy. We're like, now I'm sold.
Can there be room for multiple stars at that position with the prospects that we have on the table in the National Football League heading into the draft this year? Do you believe that Cam is the only star? Do you believe Shedeur Sanders is another star? Any of the other quarterbacks that you're intrigued with that can be stars and kind of usher in a kind of a new wave of talent?
So I don't know if you've been keeping up. The Shedeur Sanders blasphemy train continues. They are trying to tear this man down. Now it's patting the football that every quarterback has ever done. If I want to put my tinfoil hat on, to me this has to be coming from the Sanders camp to try to get him to a good spot. I don't see any other way that anybody. This has to be intentional. Patting the football. What are we talking about?
Put this camera.
You want the single cam? There you go.
NFL GMs, player personnel, men and women, evaluate prospects on what they produced on the football field at the collegiate level, assess said footage and game film, and then look at what their franchise want, rated as players on board, to then in turn evaluate and make a projection, and I said projection, to the next level. This man has thrown 27 interceptions in his entire collegiate career. 27 of them. He has thrown for 14,000 plus yards as a college quarterback. If I just said that alone to you, any GM, player personnel, scout, whatever region of the country you're in, should, if you're worth your salt, intrigue with that. Now, relative to, we mentioned Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, everywhere he's been, he's won ball games. Jackson State, Colorado, all while running for his life. We have went from patting the football to holding the football too long, which is, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay with any quote-unquote critiques with what needs to be improved on. I don't know any finished product for the most part. that has gotten into the National Football League that is ready to go from the jump. There are some. I'm not saying that it's 100% absolute. I'm just saying there are pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses to every profile draft card that you ever get in. I just want to know, what does the tape tell you about Shedeur Sanders that makes you believe, from the projection standpoint, this dude ain't gonna be a superstar? I just have some questions. Now, if you want to put the tinfoil hat on and put the tinfoil on the windows and you don't want no air conditioner on at your house and you believe that, Coach Sanders and his family are, no. We got some folks out here that, more times than not, I'm just going to say it, y'all miss. I miss. A whole lot of quarterbacks I thought it was going to be good. Can't throw from me to you. Can't process from me to you. I'm just saying, that dude, don't pick him if you want to, especially if you need a quarterback. Go ahead. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause I got a sneaky suspicion where he's going to go. I'm just gonna reserve judgment until we get to the week of the draft. We can have a big draft blowout, but that's okay.
I don't think he gets past the Saints at 9.
You are real accurate.
But I think it's kind of crazy if you're the Cleveland Browns with that situation, if you pass up on him on the second spot. I just think it's insane.
Because my question to you is, if you are picking that high, relative to what we know the league is as we speak today, rule changes, rules dictated toward set offenses. If you do not have a signal caller under center, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, you're dead in the water.
You're dead.
Yeah.
This is not, listen, my uncle, love him to death. Tried and true Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I know there's folks out here in and around North Alabama and watching this and listening to this podcast that grew up, our moms and dads, our uncles and stuff. Run the football, play good defense. Quarterback, you are just a small piece of the said puzzle for us to win a game and or championships or playoff appearances. You cannot have that right now. 99.9% of the time, you better have somebody that can make some throws and be able to play on time and be able to process quickly the whole nine at that position, because the rules and the way that the game is played today says as much. So I just have a hard time believing, and I get it. You miss. Franchises miss on quarterbacks. Hey, 49er fan here. We moved heaven and earth to go get Trey Lance. Trey Lance, I think he's a wonderful young man. He is out of the National Football League right now. It happens. I'm just saying, I got a lot of respect for franchises that are at least swinging and missing than just to not take it at all.
Right.
That's my only issue. I just think, listen, I think that Shedeur and Cam are fantastic. I think Shedeur is going to be a star. If I had to choose between the two, it'd be Shedeur. I know they are super tight. They're very competitive. They have the same quarterback coach. So I understand what I want both of those young men. I want everybody to succeed. We're just out here. What the tape has told me, he plays on time. Solid arm. See, everybody wants to get these attributes. Oh, man, he can throw it a country mile. Okay. There's a whole lot of people that they're not playing football no more that can do that. Can you play on time? Do you play in a system predicated to me that projects to the next level? Yeah, you may hold the ball a little bit too long, need to get it out, trying to make some plays. That's fine. I respect it. Those are some things that you have to work on. But everything around his quote-unquote profile player card tells you as, bar none, he's a star. What else did he? Moxie, everything, IQ, the mental aspect of it. That man got his brains beat in for 2.5 years. I ain't heard him one time say, this lineman's fault, this person's fault. Just kept playing ball. Brought his lineman up to a post-game podium, showing love to him. How much they improved from when they first started in Boulder, Colorado. So, if you don't know, I'm very high on Shedeur Sanders. I don't need to see anything else. For what else I need to see? What does the tape tell you about that young man? That's what I don't get.
There is another quarterback that Jackson Dart. I still think we're going to go in the first round. Okay. But I don't know if you saw this. One Mr. Jalen Milroe has accepted an invitation to the NFL draft.
Yes.
that is usually reserved for guys that the NFL knows is going to go in the first round.
Correct.
What do they know that the rest of us don't know? What are they getting word of?
P, I told you before this process started. What did I tell you? I said Jalen is going to go and do everything possible to enhance said draft stock. Senior Bowl, Combine, Pro Day, meet and greet with said franchise and player personnel. If he's not one of the first 40 players taken, I would be utterly shocked. Shocked. There are too many. If we're just talking about solely gifts relative to as many quarterbacks that have been drafted in years past, if we're just going by gifts, you have to roll the dice because it's big boom or big bust. What if he hits? All of the things. What does the tape tell you?
Yeah, what if he looks like the first half against Georgia for his career? I mean, you have the next Lamar Jackson then.
So I have the 50-50 or the waning here or there or one side of the fence or another. It's solely because you've seen the highs of the highs and being a preseason Heisman Trophy candidate. He traveling, doing a media junket all across the country because everyone expected as such.
Yeah.
To the utmost highs in the average and the bad football all across the board. But there's enough good that makes you believe that if I can get him in said facility amongst our coaches, the development, the proper development, and if we can get him to where he needs to be. Listen, I thought that there would be 3 to 4 getting picked in the top 40. I'm still going to stand by that. I'm just going to throw out a couple of guys. Of course, I think, Shadur and Cam are going to go in the first 6 or 7 or first 10 picks rather. If Jackson Dart is in there, okay. I think Jalen's going to be there. And here's a guy that I love. He just has to stay healthy for me, but I've seen enough. Tyler Stroud at Louisville.
Oh, you're on that train?
There's
a lot of
TikTokers
who are on this guy. This is actually the best prospect in the draft.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Now, here's the thing. It goes back to what I was saying. Being available, but, of course, got to take care of the football. I get it. But he's an old guy relative to the grand scheme of entering the National Football League. I like Stroud. Liked him in Louisville. And with what Jeff Brom can do, who's one of the best coaches in college football relative to the things that that position is asked to do, yeah, man, I am highly intrigued with Mr. Stroud. But as far as Jalen Milroe goes, listen, we can dance around this all we want. There's just too many athletic traits that make you believe that he will succeed because of his mindset, his willingness to work. He has everything else across the board. Everything else across the board. Could you imagine if he had the skill set with what he has, like with like Shadur or Cam? I mean, more, I'm just saying, just playing well between the tackles, right? Man, he'd be the first pick.
I mean, the NFL has to believe that when we get to the bottom half of the first round, they have intel that some team potentially could trade up and get him. Because if you get taken in the first round, the team has the 5th-year option. So you're saving money rather than waiting and taking him in the second round. If you like him and can move up to 31st or 32nd, whatever, much like the Ravens did when they drafted Lamar, that 5th year is crucial. And like you said, if he hits, and you're going to know pretty soon, right? Yep. Within the 2nd, 3rd year,
correct.
Like if he's not working out, you can pivot.
It seems like there's a trend. Maybe we have to wait maybe a year or two more, but it seems like there's a trend, Pat, where if said franchise is not very, it may be a little hesitant on a quarterback prospect, taking him quote unquote high in the draft or trying to reach up to go get said player. They're waiting to the bottom half of the first round, or they're definitely sneaking up and trading up to the second round. That's why I believe that. I think outside of the top 50 picks going into the second round, Jalen's going to hear his name called. So whether he walks out on night 1 or he walks out on night 2, he's going to get drafted and someone's going to pick him. A lot of people have him go to the Giants. That's what I heard. I thought I saw it today. Was it today? I thought I saw it today.
Yeah. I would be on the lookout for the Rams.
They had your boy and my guy, because I like Jackson Dart, a college player. They had Jackson Dart selected to L.A.
I think the Rams have not had a first-round pick in forever. I think it was the first time in like 8 years.
Yeah.
So, and Matthew Stafford's getting older. I think if Jalen Milroe landed with Sean McVay in Los Angeles, I think he would be a superstar.
That's intriguing, my man.
So wrapping up the podcast here, so we got to go here in about 5-10 minutes. You want to talk a little spring football?
Let's talk a little spring football or the lack thereof of spring football,
I was about to say, for the people that are actually doing it this year. And spring football is changing so much. Alabama announced it's actually going to just be a 90-minute practice session.
Same thing for Auburn.
They're going to do more fan stuff, so it'll make it a whole kind of event. But the scrimmages of the past seem to be just that, of the past. Your thoughts on spring football? It seems like everybody's scared that other teams are going to look at these dudes and then the portal opens and they get word. But I feel like you would already know that anyway, right, if you were a coach?
Yeah. Here's the one thing that I definitely want to do in the next couple of weeks. A lot of college programs are going to have their spring game in the next 2 weeks, right? I am intrigued just to ask some coaches at all levels. Are you playing? Was your format the same as in previous years, or did you decide to change that? I definitely want to ask Coach DeBoer and Coach Freeze this summer when we're down at SEC Media Days. I definitely want to ask them that because I'm just interested to see the reasoning for why and why not. I happened to listen to a sports show earlier today. They had a college football coach on, Coach Brent Key at Georgia Tech, and he was like, "We playing, like we don't care about that. Like everybody knows who our players are, yada yada yada." Which is, I mean, I get it. But for me, spring football, I would like to maybe have a setting like that, and I would like to still continue that solely from the standpoint of just another competition benchmark, a note that I can have. It's not the end all be all. You're not showing anything. It's pretty vanilla, as always. But I still just want to see players compete for that short amount of time. You know, you still run the risk of injury, but, you know, what's the risk of injury if you're out here playing like these games and having these glorified practices or whatever? And so that's fine. If you want to go through a practice and that's your deal, cool, man. I'm all for it. I'm indifferent either way. Am I intrigued about programs being able to travel much like the NFL to be able to maybe have a 2-day deal? Yeah. Here's the thing. Maybe something, and this is just thrown on the wall to for anyone to think about. Maybe, you know, during spring camp, you know, you coordinate the dates so that you do a 2-day deal, much like the NFL does when they do joint practices. You know, have insert team from the SEC travel to another SEC team. And from the media standpoint, give the media the first, which we normally get anyway when we go to these universities, the first 2 or 3 periods, see a little competition as far as, you know, defensive ends against offensive tackles, some 7-on-7 pass skelly type stuff, some run game type stuff, keep everybody up off the ground, kind of a pro format and pro model. I'm okay with that. Especially if you're going to just get rid of the game altogether and you just want to do that, I think that's beneficial as well. But I just think, Patrick, we are getting farther and farther away from all of the necessary things needed for you to be a successful football program. And that is like tackling.
Yeah.
And physicality. And I get it because I want everyone to be safe. I want everyone to be healthy. But it is common knowledge. We can see it from the naked eye. You can talk to any college football head football coach or assistant coach or anyone on staff and will tell you, man, the first 2 to 3 weeks of the year, man, is scary. These guys, you're not tackling in practice, man.
Yeah.
The tackling is just like you. So now you just have to be much more creative of how you want to do that. But you're just getting so far away from all the things necessary for you to be a quality football program. And here's the thing, much like life, you got to evolve, you got to adjust, and I think all of the great ones in the elite programs will do just that. But I just think it just makes it much more difficult to do, for sure, in my opinion. Your thoughts on just really quick. Are you okay with the different formats that universities are now taking outside of, you know, just the actual spring football games? Because it just appears to me they're going away for the most part.
Yeah, I'm fine with the creativity. I'm fine with them kind of going away.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, they need to transition to an NFL model. And I would like to see joint practices. I don't know why Like you heard Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State. He's like, well, they told us no, but if we just do it, what's going to happen? Like who's going to?
Fran Brown said the same thing.
Who's going to punish us? Because the NCAA is kind of incompetent in that kind of way. So I don't know. I think the more and more we go along college football, it's just naturally going to transition to an NFL model, because the NFL model is maybe the most natural kind of model to have for the sport of football, I think. And I could see 2 conferences teaming up for joint practice in the summer, like the SEC and Big Ten. If they just say, hey, we're going to have a little bit of a fan event at Michigan or whatever, and Alabama's going to come up, and they're going to do 2 practices, and some of it's going to be open to the media. Like, you need to just create as much buzz as you possibly can. And what better way to do that than to take some of these historic programs and have them practice each other?
I'm all about the fan. Do you would like to have that for fan, like a fan, and players and fans be able to go see that as well? I guess you make that.
Yeah, because like, how many fans from Alabama are ever going to make it to Michigan? So why not in late July, after everyone is back from July 4th weekend vacations or whatever? If you say, hey, Alabama is going to practice Michigan up in Michigan, it's a 2-day practice. 1 day is open to the fans, or you can get autograph from these guys or whatnot. You can come up, you can tour the campus, because most of the people are going to be out from Michigan. It's just going to be summer school students.
I do want to ask, if you had to choose, would you still want to stay in? You want to do fall camp? I prefer spring, just because of you're getting closer to fall camp, and I rather, if I had to do it, I would rather set it up for the spring.
I think I'd rather do fall.
Really? Tell me why.
Because of that reason. I think late summer, fall, the NFL model, and I think you could probably, in that kind of scenario, you would potentially maybe kick the season back a week or something like that. Because there's a dead spot. Like right now, we've just come off the heels of college basketball. The NBA playoffs are about to start.
Yeah.
If you are college football, who are you going to have to compete with in July? Baseball?
Yeah. Because for us here in the southeastern part of the country, and now it's kind of just taking over the country, Patrick, SEC Media Days is such a big deal.
Yeah.
So you have it after Media Days, so that week after. I think they announced it this week. I think it's July 21st, 22nd, 23rd, whatever that is. Do you have it before you go to Media Days, like the first half of July? Do you do it after July, heading into those Final Four? Because I think at some point you kind of you move into the month of August, where everybody's preparing for game number 1 or week 0, week 1.
Right.
So do you do it? Is it July? Is it the first half of July when you open? Basically, here, put it this way: maybe something happens once we finish this house settlement deal, and some rules are kind of mandated or allowed that yes, you have spring practice, but then there is a 7 to 14 day window where you're able to practice with a joint practice with another program.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, yeah, just do it that way. Because I just think that once you kind of get to the end of July, head into the month of August, you are solely game prepping for week 0, week 1, and then, doing some install and stuff with some future opponents down the line. I just think you're too close to that.
I think college football, with the playoff last year, you got so many casual fans watching and experiencing college football for the first time. Yep. And the thing that is magical about college football is getting on these campuses, getting in these buildings, hearing about the history of it. I think if I'm the NCAA, or if I'm the SEC, the Big Ten, or whoever makes these decisions, trying to pull as many people in under this tent as possible and getting them sort of enamored with the pageantry of college football is how you are going to build fans. Because I think if you were some of these commissioners of these conferences, you're looking at the landscape of American sports and being like, okay, the NFL's king, but there's a place for us to be second.
Yeah.
We can be bigger than the NBA and Major League Baseball and the NHL, all these other things. So I think you have to move in that kind of direction, and your big selling point is getting people on these campuses. That's why the first-round playoff games on the campuses were so huge.
It was amazing, and you're exactly right. I think the one thing that we can say about the college football playoff, more football, the better for me, and meaningful football. I will say that I always was, the top 4, a playoff of 4. So I feel like you're getting the bet, but I also understand for the sport as a whole, the more the better, so you can keep fan bases and make this a national game. So yeah, no, I don't disagree at all. I just think you have to get to some sort of universal agreement. But I do think even maybe an option. You got a 14-day window in the spring, 14-day window in the summer. You decide which one you want to do. and then kind of go from there. But yeah, that's interesting. The fan part is interesting, or do they just do it for the the media so that the media can kind of get it out there? But if
Bring the fans in.
I'm not mad at it.
Bring
I'm
them
not
in.
mad at it.
The fans go to NFL training camps.
Facts.
Let
And they
them
get
go.
to see the joint
They
practice.
get to see the joint practices. Let them in. Who cares?
not
It's
mad
pro
at it.
sports now. It's not amateur anymore. You're professional. You're making $1 billion.
Man, they can't get a new haircut, boy. You can't tell
Treat
him.
it like
You
such.
can't tell him nothing, boy. Got Cam Ward in the hopper.
Yeah.
Man,
Heating up.
you excited, huh?
I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm ready for the first game of the season.
When they take this offensive lineman.
10 games, Tennessee Titans.
when
Mark
they,
it down.
When they take this offensive lineman first overall,
They're
boy,
not.
he's going to be, man, he's going to be
Mr. Cameron Ward.
Cameron
I hope
Ward.
you got a
Pride of
residency
Texas.
in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm at it. I'm
I heard Brentwood's a nice place. I
going
don't know
to-
where the facility's at.
We're gonna go to camp. We're gonna do a show from there, so you can get to see him. We'll talk and stuff like that.
We'll do it.
I think you may shed tears.
I probably will.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at it, man. I like you.
I'll have my Steve McNair, Cam Ward comparisons after the draft. I'm working on it.
Ooh, that's high praise, brother.
Both guys 6'2".
High praise, big dog, Mr. Eric McNair.
6'2", 220, both dudes. I don't know. Sometimes it's a sign, you know?
Oh, here he goes.
It's a sign from the divine.
That man gonna be mad week 2. Hot.
Wrap us up. Take us home. We got to get out of here.
We
Other
do.
people have to do actual work.
For real?
Yeah.
Look, it's 3:05 for those that are going to listen. We're taping this the day before. But man, look, 3:05, that's good. I came at 2:09. 3:05. I told you about it. I mean, just keep this at 2:09.
Nah, you
I
need
know
to get
that-
here early.
I'm gonna be at 157.
Get here earlier.
157 next week. Like, subscribe, take after take. We do this each and every week. We are just leading you into the start of college football, which we're super excited about. Anywhere that you can find podcasts available, feel free to like and subscribe, comment as well. We also stream each and every Wednesday afternoon. We like to show a little love to all of our viewers that are watching as well. We're just trying to gain some steam, folks. It's all. It's a process. We're just trying to keep it going, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll and kind of roll the ball out there and be ready to play a little ball in the fall for the start of college football. For producer Pat, I'm Carl Prather. This is Take After Take, folks. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.